Hey y'all, it's Dr. Shamanda. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things mental health, personal finance, and overall strategies to live your best life. All right guys, so this video is just a little bit different. I am here to tell you about something that's very important to me. And if you watch my videos, it was always sitting up there, but I put them down here because today is the 1-year anniversary of the release of my first feature film, Wounded Healer. Now, if you know, you know, if you've been following me for a while, you know that my movie was actually inspired by my memoir, Wounded Healer. I wrote this book and released it in June of 2019, I believe. And by the end of that year, God had inspired me and given me a download to turn this movie and this book into a movie. So I wrote the script, started took a screenwriting class and all that good stuff. Like, I just really dove in, and by the time 2020 rolled around, I was ready to shoot this thing. Now, you know what happened in 2020. It got crazy. The world got crazy, right? So ironically though, I had learned about the concept of crowdfunding, and so, you know, I was like, you know what, let's do it. God gave me that directive, and so I did it, and I crowdfunded, and I was able to raise about $25,000 in cash and loans. Now, I know that maybe doesn't make sense, but if you watch my first video in this playlist, should be a playlist about my movie or being a producer. Check that first video out. I'll tell you all about how I raised that money and all that good stuff. But that was a sign for me from God, like, okay, if you can raise this much money in the middle of a pandemic, I'm talking about in the middle of the pandemic, y'all, for just off a concept. I had never made a movie in my life. It was the first one I ever wrote. So, like, be for real. That's how I knew, like, okay, God is really behind this thing, baby. I was scared because I'm like, y'all really about, so we're really doing this, huh? Okay, so anyway, y'all, today is the 1-year anniversary. So I want to share with you guys the 5 money lessons that I learned from making my first movie. Because, you know, this channel is pretty much all about finances. And as someone who's frugal and also who served as the executive producer of this film, and if you don't know about executive producer, different types of producers, essentially the executive producer is the person that's managing the money or the financial piece of it overall, right? Like, whether they are the one who is like literally financing the movie, like paying for it, or they're going out and helping to find investors to pay for the movie. And it can be, you know, expand more than that. Sometimes it's just their name being attached to get funding. So it just depends on the size of the film and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, I was over the money. I was the writer and the executive producer, and I also helped produce a little bit on the film, on the set as well. So all of that. And when you have a micro budget film, pretty much you're gonna serve in multiple roles anyway. So anyway, y'all, I was able to do that, and so I want to share with you guys these 5 money lessons. Now, this is good for someone who, if you are someone who has a dream, like you want to be a creative, there's something that God put on your heart that's outside of you, like your professional career or something like that, and you definitely want to watch this. If you are a filmmaker and you're trying to make your first film and maybe have some money anxiety around it, you definitely want to watch this as well. And if you know anybody who can relate or need this, feel free to share this video with them as well. All right, guys, but before I begin, just so you know, this my book is available on Amazon, and my movie, the DVD, is actually available on Amazon as well. So you can always purchase both of these on Amazon. And the movie is streaming free on Tubi, so there's no excuse. Y'all know I'm frugal and I don't like spending money. I'm never really gonna ask you to spend any money. So if you want to watch it to support, our goal is to reach 1,000 views by the end of this month on Tubi for this movie. So check that out and help support for the 1-year anniversary. And also, this month is October, right? So it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is the primary theme of this film. So to support that, to support us making more movies, please, you know, check out the movie for free. It's all you gotta do is watch the ads like you do on YouTube. That's it. Anyway, guys, so let's get into it. Number 1 financial lesson that I learned is that every dream has a $sign. That may not be what you want to hear, but it's true. At the end of the day, God can give you a desire. He can give you a vision for something, but that doesn't mean that it's going to come for free or like it's just going to drop down from the sky. You may have to like work a second job to make that happen. You may have to cut some expenses. You may have to go find some investors. You may have to crowdfund, whatever your route is. But for the most part, most of your dreams are going to have a dollar sign attached to it. You're gonna have to pay something. You're gonna have to invest something. You're gonna have to sacrifice something to make it happen or bring it to life. And sometimes we don't want to look at it that way. We don't think that's how it works, but it is. It could be if you're trying to be a nurse. What you got to do? You got to go to nursing school, and what that is going to cost you, your tuition and time, right? So most of the time, anything that you're going to do, any dream that you have, any vision, any goal, is going to have a budget or some money assigned to it. Number 2 is that purpose pays in more than money. All right, y'all. So at the end of the day, obviously these are intellectual properties. Like for me, like these are under my production company. I get paid. My production company gets paid. I don't take any money from it right now. So, but my production company gets paid. But it's more than money, right? At the end of the day, like seriously, because this movie and this book, first off, my book landed me on TV. I had my first live interview on Fox News, and this ain't a political thing, but I was literally on Fox News, y'all, and I'm like terrified. So you can probably find that somewhere, I don't know, but terrified. But I was able to talk about generational trauma and things like that when I shared about my book to this audience, right? And so it landed me that opportunity to share this. And I think for my hometown, seeing me on TV like that was like major. And I think I know for me, if I was a young girl, especially a young Black woman, a young person of color, I'd be like, oh my God, look at her on TV. Like that would have inspired me. So I imagine that did that. And I heard so many, people tell me that. And then my book has just been, my movie has been everywhere, right? And it's been on the Griot, Upscale Magazine, Yahoo Entertainment, like, and so many more have picked up this movie and written articles about it, interviewed me, things of that sort. So I'm super grateful for that. But at the end of the day, though, it's about spreading awareness about therapy. That is the theme of this film, is that it decreases or hopefully normalizes therapy for anybody and everybody, that there's no shame, that we can tell our story and not feel like in bondage by our traumas in our past. Like that doesn't define you. So the purpose is more important than the money. And I know it sounds, you might be like, oh, well, whatever. No, it ain't. But it really is. But that's just my opinion. All right, number 3 is that faith and fear cost the same. Y'all, it took a lot of faith for me to do this, to make this movie. It took a lot of faith, like a lot. First of all, if you know, I was, my engine blew, literally, around the time I was doing the second movie. Like I had to reproduce the movie. I had to do it over again because I didn't like the first one that well. My engine blew, so I had a choice to make, whether I'm going to get another car or I'm going to spend the money to, produce this film. And God, obviously I go to God to prayer for everything, and He gave me the direction to shoot this movie again. But that took a lot of faith, because it's like, well, where am I going to get the money for a car? And for 2 years, y'all didn't have a car. Now, keep in mind, I lived in Atlanta, so there's ride sharing, and I lived in apartments where everything was like close by for me. So it wasn't that bad, and it was still pretty much the pandemic, and I was on school, like working online, school online, all that good stuff. So it was okay, right? But it took a lot of faith to do this, to step out on faith and do this, beyond just the money part, but just sharing my story in general. It stretched me in a way that I don't think I can really truly fathom. I will say the day that I released this movie, I was a ball of tears, and I couldn't understand why. I had to process that, like why, but it was because, first of all, I finally released my story, y'all. I finally shared my story fully, like the full story in a visual format, and now it's gonna go out to more people that don't read, right? So it was crazy, but also that like you did it, like you really did this. So, all right, number 4 is that art can be an asset. So let's keep it real. These are, again, intellectual property, meaning under my production company, it's just reoccurring revenue. There's a return on the investment of time, of money, and all that, right? And at the end of the day, this passes down to my kids. My kids will always have this. This is theirs. They own this. Like I have a distribution deal, but I own this. I own the masters to my film and to my book, and that is what makes this an asset, and it's a passive stream of income. I never have to like rewrite the book or rewrite the movie. Like, it's going to keep selling and keep earning revenue, and people watch it, it earns money, and that allows me to keep producing more films. And I tell myself I would not, because the second time I filmed this movie, I paid completely out of pocket myself. The first time was part crowdfunding funds, but I tell myself I would not ever pay out of pocket fully for a film ever again. And again, if you're a filmmaker and you want me to do a deep dive into the financial piece and what that looks like and why I made that decision, just comment below. I will be happy to tell you why. But anyway, but this can be an asset. So just know that whether you're a painter, you're a musician, whatever, you can turn what you do into an asset that provides you recurring revenue, and that's passive in some way. And then number 5 is that financial freedom is about meaning and purpose, right? So at the end of the day, y'all, this process taught me about true financial freedom, but also creative freedom. And as you guys know, I talk about this all the time, or it's in my intro, is that I'm looking for, or we're focused on financial freedom, time freedom, and building generational wealth. Well, part of financial freedom for me is creative freedom. I love what I do as a therapist. I love talking to people, helping them work through their challenges, and helping them learn new things about themselves, process old traumas, all that good stuff, right? But at the core of who I am, at the heart of who I am, is a creative. I love writing. I love music. I love producing content and visuals and storytelling. I love all of those things. I love teaching in different ways. That's what I'm passionate about. And financial freedom allows me to do that, or will allow me to do that on a different level and more of it on a full-time basis. So that's what really motivates me on my financial journey. So if there's something that you're called to, there's a vision that God has given you, an assignment, and you need funding for it, let that be the motivation and the inspiration for you to get your money right. Let me say that again. Let that be the motivation for you and the inspiration for you to get your money right. See, for me, like, the more I help people, like, literally every session, I'm giving to people, I'm helping them, but I'm also getting something back. And that what I'm getting back financially is allowing me to get closer to doing what I really love to do, like on another level, right? What I'm really passionate about, what I know God has called me to do. Like I said, running my production company, writing, maybe consulting with other producers about mental health, maybe working with studios to help them when they produce movies about mental health. Like, that's what I know is next level for me. And so every time I get paid, there's no moment of like, oh, I ain't trying to do this or save or invest, because I know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Like, with this next season of my life, I know what God's called me to. So I don't need to hesitate on that, because I'm just paying this toward my future self, because she deserves to be free. She deserves to be able to do what God's called. Y'all, imagine the filmmakers or the artists or musicians, whoever, right, that you love so much. Imagine if they never broke free and they never did what they were called to do. You would never be able to experience their art. You would never be able to experience what God put on their hearts to do and share with the world. We would never experience it, because they were stuck, right? Or like in bondage due to money and finances and all that stuff. I refuse. And so I'm staying obedient to what God's called me to do in this season, but I know in the next season of my life, it's all about stuff like this. Creativity. Making art, sharing, storytelling, and incorporating everything I've learned as a therapist, right? Helping people understand themselves through my characters that I write. Like, I'm excited about that. But it still comes back to money and financial freedom. And that's a journey. So if you like this video, like the video, comment, subscribe, share. If you want to know more, you want me to do a deeper dive, feel free to comment and let me know which questions you have. I'll definitely do that. Also, guys, reminder that we have a goal to reach 1,000 views or streams, I guess, however you want to say it, on Tubi or whatever platform you want to use, because it's also on YouTube for $3.99. You can rent it or purchase it. You can also watch it on Fandango, Google Play. It's on all these different platforms. Just type it in on Google. But for free, because y'all know I like free, and I know you like free. If you want to watch it for free, just check it out on Tubi for free. You can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your tablet, your laptop, whatever's convenient for you. But check it out and share it with a friend. This also helps spread domestic violence awareness as well this month. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for the support. I am so grateful for you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. All right.